Have you ever wondered how many people actually have a net worth of $3 million or more? Not just income, not just retirement savings, but total net worth. Everything they own minus everything they owe, $3 million. For most people, that number sounds like a clear marker of being wealthy, the kind of milestone that automatically places someone in a completely different financial reality. It brings up an image almost instantly: a large house in a nice neighborhood, luxury cars in the driveway, and a life where money is no longer something that needs to be carefully managed. But how many people actually reach this level? The data is eye-opening, because the truth is, only about 4 to 5% of US households have a net worth of $3 million or more. That means if you took 100 random households across the country, only about 4 or 5 of them would actually be at or above that level. The other 95 or so would not be. So it's still pretty rare. Rare enough that most people don't personally know many households in that category, even if they think they do. Because these numbers are measured at the household level, the reality at the individual level is even more exclusive. Many of these households represent 2 people combining assets over decades, 2 incomes, 2 retirement accounts, fraction of the population. And it's helpful to be precise about what that number actually represents. We're talking net worth in its purest sense, everything they own minus everything they owe. That includes home equity, retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, business equity, cash savings, vehicles, and any other assets of value, minus mortgages, loans, and other liabilities. Net worth is a straightforward calculation. You don't get to add or subtract parts of it based on whether you feel it should be included. Accounts and shared property growth. So while roughly 4 to 5% of households reach $3 million in net worth, the share of individual adults who personally sit at that level is likely closer to half that, around 2% or even less. You're looking at a level of wealth that sits in a very small fraction. Start to get a little interesting, because if you hear $3 million net worth, most people immediately assume a very specific lifestyle comes with it. There's this idea that someone at that level has essentially made it in every sense of the word. That they're no longer budgeting, no longer worrying, no longer thinking carefully about financial choices. But what does that lifestyle really look like? A big reason for the disconnect is that we're constantly exposed to people who spend far more than the average person. Open any social media and you'll see luxury vacations, new trucks, remodeled kitchens, boats, and multi-billion-dollar homes all day long. After a while, your brain starts treating that as normal. You end up feeling like you've accomplished nothing, even though most people aren't living that way. The reality is that a $3 million net worth, or even a $1 million net worth, puts you well ahead of the vast majority of households. But when you spread the assets across different categories, what does that really leave in terms of spendable wealth? Because net worth is not the same thing as spendable money. That's one of the most misunderstood parts of personal finance. 2 households can both have $3 million in net worth and look completely different financially. One might have a large portion tied up in home equity, maybe a paid-off house that's appreciated a lot over time, along with some retirement accounts that aren't easily accessible. The other might have more of that wealth in liquid investments. On paper, they're equal. In practice, their financial flexibility can be pretty different. And that leads to something else that often surprises people. A lot of $3 million households don't feel as wealthy as outsiders expect. That might sound strange at first, but it makes more sense when you break it all down. If a meaningful portion of that net worth is tied up in a home, then it's not producing income. It's not something that can easily be used without selling or borrowing against it. Even investment accounts, while more liquid, are often treated carefully because they're expected to last decades, especially in retirement. But net worth and spendable wealth aren't the same thing. A household with a $3 million net worth might have a $1 million home, around $1.75 million invested in retirement and brokerage accounts, and another $250,000 spread across vehicles, cash, boats, or other assets. In that example, only the invested portion is really generating ongoing income. So when you think about what that wealth actually supports, the picture becomes more realistic. Using a traditional 4% withdrawal guideline, $1.75 million invested would produce about $70,000 per year before taxes. That's a strong financial position, especially when combined with Social Security or other income sources. But it's not the unlimited spending power many people imagine when they hear the term multi-millionaire. This is where expectations and reality begin to separate. $3 million sounds like an enormous amount of money, and it is, but much of that wealth is often tied up in a home and other assets that don't generate income. As a result, many households at this level still pay attention to budgets, healthcare costs, taxes, and making sure their investments last. Especially in retirement, the focus often shifts from building wealth to protecting it. And that brings up another important angle: how people actually get to $3 million in the first place. Most of the time, it's not a sudden leap. It's not just one big investment or one lucky break. It's usually a long accumulation process that starts much earlier, often with something as simple as reaching the first million. That first million tends to be the hardest because it requires building financial discipline from scratch, learning how to save consistently, how to invest through volatility, how to avoid major financial setbacks, and how to stay patient when progress feels slow. But something changes after that first million is reached. Investment returns start to play a bigger role. Compound growth begins to contribute more meaningfully, and time becomes one of the most important variables in the equation. The difference between $1 million and $3 million is often less about effort and more about duration. It's about how long you can actually stay invested without interrupting the process. And that's an important distinction, because the first million is far more common than the third. Roughly 1 in 5 U.S. households has a net worth of at least $1 million, about 20%. That's still a big achievement, but it's much more attainable than many people realize, especially for older households that have spent decades paying down a mortgage. Reaching that first million is heavily influenced by home equity. Someone who bought a house decades ago may have seen its value rise substantially while steadily paying down the mortgage. Add in even a smaller retirement account that has grown over the years, and it's possible to reach a 7-figure net worth without having an exceptionally large investment portfolio of consistent investing. In other words, a household with a $1 million net worth might have a large percentage of that wealth tied up in their home, while a household with $3 million is more likely to have a much larger share invested in producing income. That's an important distinction because financial assets tend to compound much faster than home equity. A house may appreciate over time, but it doesn't generate the same long-term growth that comes from decades of reinvested market returns. As a result, many households reach their first million through a combination of homeownership, retirement savings, and time. Reaching $3 million often requires those same factors, but with a much greater emphasis on sustained investing and allowing compound growth to work over a longer period. Now, if someone has $1 million invested, that money has the potential to double roughly every 7 years on average when invested in the S&P 500. That means the second and third million don't necessarily require the same level of saving intensity as the first. But there's a catch: only if the money stays invested. The bigger disruption to that trajectory is usually not market performance, but behavior. Large withdrawals, lifestyle inflation, or shifting priorities can slow or completely reset the compounding process. Another factor that matters a lot at this level is age. A $3 million net worth looks very different depending on when it's achieved. At 35, it represents a completely different financial trajectory than at 65. At 35, there's still decades of potential earning power and compounding ahead. At 65, the focus shifts much more towards how that wealth will be used and preserved. Same number, completely different context. This is why raw net worth figures can be misleading if you don't consider timing. So around 4 to 5% of households and roughly 2% of individuals ever reach a $3 million net worth. It's uncommon, but doable even for regular people. It comes down to time, consistency, and staying invested long enough for compounding to do most of the heavy lifting.